people? What's up? What's up? Myself, the Genius Man, today.
And my Vebz.
How are you today, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm very good.
Can you hear me loud and clear, yeah?
Yeah. It's been a challenging day, to be honest with you.
What's going on?
Oh man, we had one of those meetings today at work. It was like every month we have one, and it's like starts at 1:30 till 4.
It's a long ass meeting, man.
But yeah, I try and fight to stay awake.
Yeah, I hate that. You mean when it comes to work and all them kind of things there, or meetings and all that kind of stuff, like if I'm in there and I'm not the one talking, I'm listening to people, bro, give me half an hour, I'm sleeping, bro. And like sometimes I've had management come to me and be like, oh, wake up. And I'm like, listen, I can't help it, man. This is one of those things that I suffer from, man. I don't know why, but it's not even an older age thing, bruv. I've been doing this from when I was young.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
So people, we're coming today with a topic on accountability.
Accountability.
So, hope your ears are engaged. And I know there'll be a lot of you that will be able to, relate to this. Some people like to be held accountable. Some people don't like to take accountability. You have two different types of people when it comes to accountability. So, Vebz, I'm going to kick off on this. So you make sure you're ready for these questions. Yeah?
So you're going to break down what accountability is to the listeners?
Yes. Yeah. So, Vebz, what is your understanding of accountability?
Okay, accountability for me is when it's basically like taking responsibility for your actions, or your input in actions or situations. So say for instance, just a quick example, a light example. If, you are having a conversation with somebody and you cross the line with a comment during that conversation, that then triggers that person, and that person starts to sort of get a bit aggressive with you. And then, after everything's said and done or whatever, you're now faced with the responsibility of figuring out who is accountable for making that situation occur. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's when it takes a person who I would regard as a mature being to hold up their hands and say, you know what? I realized that when I said this, it triggered you, and it wasn't necessary. It was across the line, and you know what I mean. I'm sorry. Like, and they'll actively make sure they don't do it again. That's taking accountability, because when you say sorry because you've realized where you've messed up, you will actively try to make sure it doesn't happen again, and that's a part of you now that you will improve as a person.
Yeah. Well, powerfully said. I like that. You went into detail there. More than I thought. But yeah, well explained.
What are you trying to say? You trying to say I'm dumb, blood?
Nah, I'll just say.
I'm joking.
No, it was a good response.
Thank you.
My understanding of accountability as well is, speaking from experience, is, the act of taking responsibility for my own actions, my own behaviors, my own decisions. I find, from my experience, I find that, a lot of, sorry about that. Let me just put this. Yeah, from my understanding, a lot of people don't like to take accountability for their actions because they feel that, they don't have to justify themselves. That's what I mean. It takes a bigger person to be held accountable for their actions. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Accountability also involves being transparent, following through one's own commitments, and basically owning up to your mistakes. Sometimes it's not easy. I'll be honest, there's been times when I've not, I will probably, how can I put it? I've got a lot better now, but in terms of being accountable, it's easy to be in denial. That's what I mean. It's very easy to be in denial, especially if you get in defensive mode. Look how many times when you might have put me up on certain things, Vebz. Does that I mean? And initially you might say, oh, come on, cuz man. Does that I mean? And I'm not having a dig at you, but and then you know what? I said, actually, Vebz. No, you're right. Does that I mean? You've told the truth. You've been open and honest. And the thing is, it takes one to reflect on one's own, like we all know ourselves. That's what I mean. Let's be honest. We all know ourselves. So, like when certain people will tell you certain things, you can be in denial. But if it's the truth and you know that it's the truth and this person's telling you because they genuinely care, then it's down to you as the individual to accept it and be mature about it and say, you know what, actually, I own this one. Yeah, you know what, actually, that what you've just said is the truth. Thanks for being open and honest. And, and clarifying that rather than you allow me to be comfortable with a lie. Because you find nowadays in this day and age, you know what I mean? People do not tell people the truth. You know what I mean?
100%.
They don't. They'd rather than offend people, they will tend to pretty up the truth. They'll tell them half truths. And I've always said it, when you tell people half truths, people get half healing. Tell people the full truth, they get full healing. It's honest. This is what I mean.
I like that one. I like that one.
This is what I mean. So, also, it also promotes trust, integrity, and as I said before, personal growth. Because when you're accountable for your own actions, or someone is able to pull you up on certain things, and you can identify, say, actually, you know what? Yeah. Or even some people can go as far as saying, you know what? I was offended, but you know what? I know that you told me that in love, respect for that. Because you could have just not even said anything or just compromised. And we live in a compromised generation, a compromising generation that do not like to be open and honest. Is what I mean? Or even better, a generation that doesn't like to be held accountable for anything.
Yeah.
Is what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
What else? Yeah. That's my take on it. So, in terms of healing now, accountability through healing, there's many people that are going through trauma. Sometimes the trauma could be, stuff that's happened within the family, stuff that's happened within the relationship. Is that what I mean? And sometimes, it might not necessarily always be that person's own fault. That person might even have a part to play in it. Mm-hmm. But you see, once again, it's knowing where you can be, where both parties can be mature enough to say, you know what, actually, we need to be able to say, you know what, we've both done wrong. Accountability can be something where both parties that are in a relationship can actually, be mature enough to say, you know what, it's not all on you. I'm partly to blame as well. Yeah. Everyone being accountable in their own each individual way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel as well that accountability is something where it's not talked about enough. It's not addressed enough. This is what I mean. I feel that it's a topic that is easily shied away from. People try to avoid it because the thing, once you become accountable, it now means that you now have to own up and take responsibility for certain things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So I think in terms of, being in, a better relationship, even, accountability at work, accountability in the roles you play in your children's life. This accountability is something that can actually be something that's in your everyday life, if that makes sense. You see what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
So, let me see what else I've made. Hold on.
The thing is with accountability as well, like you said about healing, I think that's a good word that you said still, because I think that, I don't know, this goes hand in hand with the word accountability. A lot of people would probably associate accountability with being to blame.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So they'll probably shy from it because, I don't know, maybe it's a childhood thing where when they have owned up to something, they face the consequence, or, do you get what I'm saying? They've had the fingers pointed at them, or maybe they've never been really forgiven. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just been brushed under the carpet. You've been blamed and then brushed under the carpet. But at the end of the day, it's healthy to hold yourself accountable to your behaviors and your decisions and stuff like that, because it's part of your healing. If you don't hold yourself accountable for it and you don't see the positives in holding yourself accountable for things, you just don't tend to grow and improve and develop as a person. Do you know what I'm saying?
you just outed my next question.
Oh, did I? Sorry.
Because I was going to ask you, what is the true meaning of accountability and how does it contribute to personal growth and professional growth? But you just said it.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Well said, man. No, well said. Okay, then. In saying that, how can individuals learn to take ownership of their actions and become more accountable?
How can they? I don't think there's any specific ways, in it. It's just you just have to just find just do the responsible thing and just own up. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you've got something wrong, you've got something wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, I talk to my daughter about it all the time. She's a teenager, you know what I mean? And I always talk to her about certain little things, like when we're having a conversation and I'm telling her a fact or something, but she's told me the fact first, let's just say, and she's got it wrong, and then my fact wipes out her one, and then we look into it and it shows that my one wiped out hers. I just see that as, I'm older than you, I'm wiser than you, I've been around, you ain't been around, it's just nature. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas in her world, she sees it as, oh shit, I was wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? And like, I tell her, you have to understand that there's nothing wrong with being wrong. If you can't be wrong, and be comfortable in being wrong, you'll never get to yourself to a place where you're going to be right. Because being wrong at the end of the day will make you say, oh, right, I didn't know that, you know. You look into a little bit more. Now you become more knowledgeable on that subject. So the next time you're not wrong. So being wrong made you better.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I mean?
Yeah. My next question, what would you say are the benefits of fostering a culture of accountability in the workplace?
Well, at the end of the day, if you're at a workplace, you're working for an organization, you're there to do a job, innit?
Yeah.
And if you're there to do a job, then you're there to, in whatever role you play, achieve the optimum results that the organization is trying to achieve.
Powerful.
Do you get what I'm saying? So if you don't take accountability for decisions that you've made or practices that you've done that hasn't managed to get you the optimum results, they've got you, worse, or they've got you no results, let's just say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your manager's going to come to you and they're going to hold you accountable. They're going to be looking at you like you're a liability to the organization. You're no longer an asset if you keep doing that. So it's in your best interest to take accountability so that you become an asset to that organization.
I like that. Well said. I like that.
Respect, cuz.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. That, what you just said there, 100%. And I think, once again, transparency is the key. Because I mean, it's not easy for a lot of people to be accountable for their actions. Is what I mean? It's easy to shy away from it because you don't want to be held accountable because you feel that you're guilty. And by admitting that you're guilty, you may feel that you're being judged. And
that's what I'm saying, where it probably stems from somewhere in your childhood or a relationship that you may have had earlier or with your parents or something where when you was wrong, you avoided taking accountability because maybe the one time you did, it had horrific results, if you get what I'm saying. So now you hide from it. But like I said, if you hide from it, it just stunts your development. And if you're working in an organization and you do something or carry out some kind of practice and you get it wrong, there's other colleagues there that are more experienced than you, that have been there before you. You can go to them and you can say like, I tried to do this to try and get this result and I found that it didn't really work. And, my manager's pulled me up about it, or is there any thing that you can suggest where I can, you know what I mean, implement that into my practice, and people will help you, you know that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so it's just about speaking, isn't it? If you're, by you going and even asking somebody and letting them know that you tried something, it didn't work, and you're trying to find a way forward, how to do it better, that's taking accountability.
Well said.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. That leads me on to my next question. Now that you just said what you said, do you believe that accountability can be taught, or would you say it's an innate quality?
When you say innate, you mean like natural?
Yeah. It's a deep question.
I don't know. I don't think it is something that is an innate quality. I think it's something that's taught or learned. And you would learn it as a child, I think, from seeing positive examples of older people around you doing it before you have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end they were a sponge for a reason when we're young. People underestimate that. Even when a baby is like months old, they think that they don't know nothing, or they don't see nothing, or they don't pick up nothing. Babies pick up practices from very, very young.
Yeah.
They're a sponge. There's not much that they do. So all information, all noises, all words that they hear, all sounds, all feelings, all textures of things, everything they pick up, and they're putting it all into, scrambling it around in their head and putting it all into perspective so it makes sense as they get older. Do you know what I'm saying? So if they're around older brothers, older sisters, mums, dads, aunties, cousins, and they're like 1 year old, they're watching, even if it's not consciously, subconsciously, and they're taking in information. Oh, auntie did something wrong there, and she just held up her hand and said, oh, you know, I got this wrong, and sorry guys. Even if it's like something stupid like baking a cake. Auntie tried to bake me a cake. She burnt up the cake. Everybody that was there that wanted to eat the cake was pissed off with auntie. She apologized, threw the burnt up cake away and started baking a fresh one. And now she's reading from the ingredients rather than doing guesswork. And now the cake came out brilliant. What do you think that teaches a child?
To be honest, isn't it? And be
it teaches a child, like, right, you know what, be transparent. Like, if you got it wrong, you got it wrong. But look, the result is at the end of the day, she threw it away. She read from the ingredients this time, so she done something better. And now the cake came out the way everybody wanted it, and they all ate it. It was delicious, blood. Result. Do you get me?
Yeah.
And those are little things that kids pick up on, innit? Older brothers and sisters fighting or whatever not. Do you get what I'm saying? The parent comes up, what's going on there? Eventually it gets to the point where the older brother and sister or older siblings work it out and say, you did this to me and I didn't like it, and okay, I'm sorry. They hug. That teaches a child a positive way how to, do you know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, a positive way how to, you know what I mean, sort things out. Do you know what I mean? Conflict resolution and all those kind of things. It's all taking accountability. Then the child puts that into perspective. If they now have pure negative examples of how to do that, toxic family members, toxic people that don't take no accountability, or if the child done something wrong now and then they want to take accountability and they just get bad up all the time and lose everything, and then nobody comes to them and sits down and says, listen, like, I know I had to take away this, your TV from you, for example, or your toys from you, for example, because of what you done. Do you know what I mean? But let's go over everything. You know what I mean? Let's figure out where you went wrong. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then if you apologize and whatever not, we can work it out. You can get your TV back. That shows a child that a positive comes out of it by being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. Have you got any question before I ask my next question?
Nah, fire away. I figure something else to go along. You know what I mean?
How does transparency play a role in promoting accountability?
Well, transparency is being open and honest, isn't it? So if you do something wrong, again, transparency is where, let's just say, a situation happened, you done something wrong, nobody knows. It could be like you could be working in a job where it's client-based and you're going and you're seeing the clients at their house, doing home visits, yeah? And the way you approach the client, or maybe what you said to the client, wasn't highly inappropriate, but it wasn't to your company's professional standard, yeah, that client might not go back and say anything because they're not that type of person. But then you might go and speak to, even if you don't want to speak to your manager because you might get bagged, I understand that. But you might go to another colleague, like I said, that's been there longer than you and say, look, when I went to see this client, we had this conversation about this, and I said this and I said that, and I kind of felt like maybe it was a little bit inappropriate. What do you think? How do you think I should have managed it? Is there anything you suggest that I could have said that in a better way or something? And then they could say, yeah, you know what, you shouldn't have said it like that though. But what I would do is say it like this. That's being transparent with somebody.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Nice one, man. Yeah, nice one. Vebz, how can we hold ourselves accountable without being overly self-critical?
That's a bit of a mad one, isn't it? 'Cause I think that one, that one comes with like, I think common sense.
Yeah.
Using your common sense, innit? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think that takes somebody that's very aware and very observant and looks around at other people, the way other people operate, and can kind of put it all in a box together and then come up with, you know what I mean? Like compare it to what they've done and say, you know what? So there might be a situation like I did this and it wasn't the best thing, but a lot of people make that kind of mistake. So it's kind of realistic that I will make that mistake.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And if you kind of got that about you, I think that's a skill that I don't think lots of people have.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, it's I agree. And I think, and this goes back to what you said as well, when I say, self-critical, because the thing is we can be at the same time self-condemning, self-judging, to the point where we as people, there are some people that they find it very hard to forgive themselves.
Yeah.
And it depends on, what they've gone through or what they've experienced. So, when I've said, self-critical, without, being overly, is because I feel, there are two types of people. You have the people that can quickly accept something, move on.
Yeah.
Then you have the second type of person that is kind of like, although they know they've messed up or they've done something, they condemn themselves to the point where they find themselves stressed out. They can't function.
Yeah, it's not that deep. They make it worse. Yeah.
There has to be a balance. Obviously you accept, the consequences of your action. You've done wrong, but you move on.
Yeah.
But you don't allow it to now become a problem where you now find it very hard to move on because you're still stuck with self-condemnation when actually
do you feel that comes with like lack of self-confidence, if you know what I'm saying? Because I think if you've got confidence and you do something wrong and you weigh up the odds and weigh up what the outcome is, and it's not, you'll be able to figure out that it's not that deep. It's not something I'm going to lose my job over. It's not something I'm going to get arrested for. It's not something that's going to put me in debt. It's just a learning thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I may have disappointed somebody a little bit, but it's not enough for them to come and say to me, you're no good to me. Like, do you know what I'm saying to you? That kind of thing. So you can kind of move on. But then there's some people that haven't got that confidence and they make something small that is not that deep again. They blow it out of proportion in their own mind because they're not a confident person. So they think of everything they magnify the seriousness of the problem.
This is what I'm saying to you. Exactly. Something that was small now becomes big.
Yeah, like an OCD mindset or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to touch on, work again. So how do you think that leaders can create a work environment where the employees feel safe to admit their mistakes and learn from them?
That's a hard one, but again, it's a simple one. What I would say is, and there's not many organizations out there that exist like that, innit?
I'm gonna answer.
Organizations or companies tend to have their own goals that they want to achieve, innit? If you get what I'm saying. And all they care about a lot of the times is achieving those goals. Do you know what I
mean? Yeah.
And all they care about is you achieving the goals in the way that you're told to achieve those goals.
That's right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So if you, I don't know, like, if you make a mistake, really and truly, somebody that owns a company should be there for the betterment of the people that they've hired. If they've taken the time out if they've taken the time out to hire you, after interviewing you is getting to know you for a brief spell, innit? Then making a decision if you're worthwhile them giving a shot in their organization. And of course, you get the probation period. If you pass the probation period, there's obviously something that they saw in you that they liked. Yep. So really and truly, they should, if they were decent human beings, be like, you know what, we're going to support this person even though they got something wrong. And that will allow them to be transparent with us, and then we can support them to operate in the way that we want them to operate safely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then there's this a lot of organizations have got the whole clicky effect, innit? Do you know what I mean? Little tight-knit groups and all those kind of things there where,
been there.
you know, if you don't operate a certain way or you make a mistake, they ostracize you and workplace bully you and, you know.
Gang culture.
Then they say, that's what they say, innit? The biggest, the biggest form of stress on human beings is work-related stress.
Yeah,
and that's because of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, yeah. Well said, man.
It's not a safe place, really and truly, but it should be.
No, I like that answer. And what I would add to that as well is, you see, it's very important to be aware that when you're dealing with anyone, not just in the workplace, when you're out in public, it's very important that you, however you're dealing with someone, you deal with them right, because you don't know who's watching, you don't know who's observing. And especially in the workplace, if a manager is dealing with a member of staff and dealing with that member of staff in an aggressive manner, it could give off the wrong message, and it can allow that person to form an opinion of that manager to realize, you know what, where that they dealt with that person, I'd have to be kind of careful, because boy, I wouldn't like to be dealt with like that. You know what I mean?
The way you're talking like that, I know you've seen examples like that. I have as well.
You know, yeah. And that's why, you know, when I asked that question is, you know, when I said, a safe environment where employees feel safe to admit their mistakes. You know why? Because we live in a very judgmental society. If you deal with someone wrong, you deal with someone incorrectly, they are less likely to open up.
Yeah.
You know why? Because if you can deal with so-and-so like that, how will you deal with me? You know what? Rather than own anything, let me keep quiet. Let me stay silent, because you know what? Right now, I could potentially either, depending on the person, potentially end up losing my job because I'm not going to like the way you respond to me, and you're probably going to end up getting knocked out. Or two, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's me.
And you have some people that are like that, and you have some people that, you know what, they will just suffer in silence. And then that suffering in silence can potentially now become a trauma issue, to a point where when that person now leaves that organization, they now go to another organization, and they automatically feel now that all management is like that. They're less likely to open up about anything that's gone wrong. If they are now struggling with certain things, maybe it might be work related in terms of learning a new system, even simple things as asking for help. They are less likely to ask for help because they don't want to feel ridiculed. They don't want to feel judged, or they don't even want to experience a response that will make them feel stupid, if that makes sense.
I mean, they don't even want to let you know that they're vulnerable in that situation like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, you're right still. You're right. And I've seen many examples of people in the workplace getting verbally abused by managers, man. Do you know what I mean?
It's not right.
I've seen top guys, bruv. I was working for a company one time, and one of the directors got bad up by the CEO, like in the office in front of everybody, bruv. And cause I kid you not, man, I stood there with my mouth open, like, what? It was like a woman badding up this guy, innit? And I stood there with my mouth open, like, raw. You get me? And then one of my mates said to me, like, what did you think of that? I said, bruv. I said, I'm not surprised, but the nerve. Do you get me?
Yeah.
And I just said, if this woman, you know what it made me do? Because it made me say it in my mind, if this woman ever speaks to me like this, you know, oh my days, cuz, you know what I mean? Obviously, like, I'm not going to hit her because she's a woman. And if it's a man, I'm not going to hit them either. But I've got a way with my mouth, man, where I can deal with you a certain way in a professional manner, innit? But make you look stupid, you know what I mean? And I've done it to a manager before that was trying to abuse me, and I told them, I don't care who you are or who you think you are or what role you've got. You ain't, listen, not even Jesus Christ can talk to me like that, blood. You know what I mean? If you want me to do things that you require, you gotta learn to talk to me with better respect than that. I'm not a slave.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And I said, and until you do go away, think about how you spoke to me and come back with a different mannerism that I feel is acceptable. Until you do that, don't come and speak to me, blood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the,
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, nice one, man. That's deep still.
Yeah, man.
That's deep. And this is another reason I think, you know what, Vebz, just, you know, obviously just off topic.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, I want us to also talk on, next time on, you know, podcasts. I feel, you know, when we do podcast is another way of expressing how we feel, talking about stuff, getting things off our chest. It's another way, a form of healing. That's what I mean. So I think it'd be very good for us to do a topic on, you know, why do we do a podcast? You know, what do we get from doing podcasts and, you know, the benefits of it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, sorry, off topic, but yeah, just wanted
That's good. That's good, man.
God, yeah, the next one, man. I know your answer for this one is going to be fire. I know that for a fact, yeah, because this one especially. I chose this one specifically for you. Okay. So, you know, how do you think us as parents can teach our children to be accountable for their actions? This is going to be. I know you're going to go into this one good, man. I know it.
How?
Yeah,
teach them to be accountable for their actions.
Yeah,
like I said. You know, I've got a teenage daughter, and I have to sit down there and talk to her about the reality of life. Do you know what I'm saying? And, you know, she's living in a somewhat reality because she's here with us, but at the same time, she's living in somewhat of a mythical world. She's not really on social media like that because she hasn't got a phone like that that's managed. But I'm saying going to school, hearing certain talk from her peers about certain scenarios or their opinions or, you know, the whole school philosophy on how they teach kids things now. Like, they pander to them. They don't show them the realness. Do you know what I'm saying? So
it's true.
Kids have too much of an opinion. In my, you know what I mean? In my mind, that's what I think anyway. But like I said, I'm going to be honest with you, because I'm just going to say it straight. I told my daughter the other day, I got a bit pissed off with her because she was just doing some attitude thing in it, as teenagers do. You know what I mean? She's turning a big girl now, a young woman, or whatever not. But I had a conversation with her, but a bit of a fiery one, and I told her, look, you have, in life, when you do certain things, you have to take accountability for the things that you do and the decisions that you make. Do you get what I'm saying? When you don't take accountability, what you don't realize is you're not taking accountability for the benefit of anybody else. Yeah. You're taking accountability for the benefit of you. Even if you taking accountability in that moment means you getting into trouble or you receiving a consequence, it is still for the benefit of you. It's down to your growth. Yeah. When you don't take accountability, you stunt your own growth and your own development, because then what then happens is kind of what you're already doing. When you get things wrong, rather than you hold up your hand and say you got things wrong, what you start doing is pouring out a mixed bag of excuses that don't make no sense. And what they do is they make you sound very illiterate. Yeah, it's true. And she paused like, what? I said, you're a very intelligent girl. And my daughter's intelligent, blood. Not gonna lie, I can't sit down there and say any bad thing about her academically. Do Do you get what I'm saying? The way she speaks and stuff like that. It's just a little attitude when she gets pulled up about certain things. But I'm saying, like, but when you talk and you drop your mixed bag of excuses, I look at you like, are you fucking dunce? You know what I mean? It makes you, it's like you're cheating yourself. You're making yourself look stupid. You know what I mean? And I think you've got so much into the habit that you don't realize how stupid you're making yourself. Yeah. So I said, or making yourself look. So take accountability, because when you go out there in the big wide world, the world is not like, what you need to understand is if you continue to do this, outside, once you become an adult, is not going to listen to you like how school's going to listen to you. You know what I mean? They're not going to listen to you like how your peers listen to you. They're not going to agree with you like how your peers and school teachers agree with you. Once you turn an adult and you go out there in the wide world, whether you're getting your own business or working for somebody else or whatever, the world stops giving a fuck.
It's true.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true.
You can't put yourself in a position where you're still coming out with excuses to people that don't give a fuck. Because I can tell you this now. When you're working and your manager pulls you up, if you still got this thing where you drop your mixed bag of excuses and tells you, listen, you got this wrong. This is not what I hired you for. You need to improve. You know what I'm saying? This doesn't meet the criteria of what we're trying to achieve. When you drop your mixed bag of excuses, they're going to be like, I might give her one more chance. Yeah? If you carry on doing it and it shows that you're not taking accountability as far as the workplace is concerned, you're no longer an asset to them. You're a liability.
That's true.
And they will boot you out. Quick. No mercy. But when they boot you out and you got your house rent in, you can't pay for your yard.
Yeah.
You can't buy your food. You can't pay for your car. You can't do your shopping. You can't, and the clock's ticking against you in order for you to find another job, another alternative way of making money for you to continue to buy these things. Because if you don't meet the time on the clock that's ticking down, now you're in arrears. Landlord's going to tell you to come out now.
Yeah, it's true.
So there's a ripple effect of how these mixed bag of excuses will mash you up. Don't put yourself in that position. Learn to hold up your hand. Take accountability. It's okay to be wrong, because wrong sometimes makes you improve and makes you end up being strong.
Yeah, 100%. Well said, Vebz. Well said. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. What would you say are the consequences of the lack of accountability in relationships and society at large?
Well, lack of accountability, I'd start off in relationships, is obviously you'll get to a point where, look, like I gave the example a minute ago with my daughter, people that lack accountability or lack of taking accountability make pure excuses. There's only so long you can take your finger, misdirect your finger from pointing at yourself and point it somewhere else.
Yeah, it's true.
After a while, it sounds like poor, sad excuses that nobody begins to believe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying to you? You got to be super creative with not taking accountability, because you have to make bare lies to get yourself out of it and blame other people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can't keep coming with the same thing all the time. But eventually people's patience is going to run out with you. So if you're in a relationship, you could be in a relationship with the prettiest woman that you can get, or the prettiest, the most handsomest man that a woman can get, whatever. You can't take no accountability for nothing. You don't improve nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just ends up being like a toxic cesspit, you know what I'm saying, of problems that just keep on reoccurring. If you don't take accountability, those problems don't go away, or they don't improve, or they don't lessen. They just carry on. They keep reoccurring. And if anything, they might even come more consistently. You know what I'm saying? To the point where they just break down your relationship naturally. And then you'll move on to somebody else with the same problem, and you'll find this. I know people like this, cuz.
Oh.
I know people that are in relationships or have been in relationships. They handle it a certain way that's not good. They finish with that person because of it. not their choice. Either it naturally breaks down or the person tells them to go. Yeah. Then they go into another relationship and repeat the process again, and it breaks down again. There's men out here, if you think about it though, because it's quite common than you think, you know. There's men out here and there's women out here that are very capable of getting into relationships. They're very capable of going on dates and looking the part and speaking the talk and, you know, selling themselves like an advert, you know, like an advert, advertising themselves like they are the one. Yeah. But when they get into a relationship and the reality of your lack of accountability because of your poor behaviors start to show itself. Yeah. The relationship breaks down and you're doing it again and you're doing it again to the point where you get older and you're now running out of options. You're solo for a long time. I know a lot of people like this.
That's crazy, man.
You get what I'm saying?
Come like a plague, isn't it?
Well, this is it. So at the end of the day, it's another example of if you don't choose to take accountability for things, you don't develop, even as an adult. So when you don't develop, is your relationship going to develop, bruv?
Yeah, it won't.
It's not. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with you being a parent too. Like, I do stuff certain times when I'm ready. The kids piss me off, I go mad. You know what I mean? Yeah. When it goes thick and fast, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not like, you know what I mean? Super controlled being where, like, you know, I get everything right. It's impossible. We're all imperfect. I've got my ways about me that I'm working on, but at the same time, I don't take disrespect, and I don't, whether it's at me or whether it's at other people in my home, I don't like to sit down there and hear someone in my house talk disrespectfully to somebody else. I don't like it, bruv. Yeah. And I tell people to readdress themselves, you get me? And if they don't take accountability and it keeps happening on a regular basis, you leave me no choice but to deal with you a certain way. You get me? And sometimes it's not always the best way. I'm not saying I bust up my youths or anybody listening or anything like that. Yeah.
I'll have you clarify that,
Yeah, and I'm not saying that. But I'm not going to lie. I will drag them. I will grab them. Yeah. I'll tell you the truth. I will grab them just to let them know I'm serious. Yeah. They'll see the look in my face and my eyes that I'm serious. Do you get what I'm saying? But even when I do that and everyone's a bit, you know, stunned for a hot minute, I'll sit down and I'll have a conversation and I'll let them know, look, it's not the ideal way for me to respond, but you have to understand that when you did this, it made me respond that way because of the lack of respect that you were showing to another person in our family. You know what I'm saying? If you show lack of respect in our family, the people living under the same roof, what are you going to do to other family members that don't live under our roof?
100%.
And I don't raise you lot to operate like that. I raise you lot to come out here and show manners and respect. So when I see you lot doing it with the people you live with, I just think it's mad and it sets me off. You know what I mean? Yeah? But I can take accountability for me going a bit mad. I can. You know what I mean? And that weren't nice for you. I apologize, but let's work together. I'll apologize. I'll work on my thing. But you lot make sure you work on your thing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that, So I sit down and then we hug. Agreement. Yeah, like we hug and whatever, not, and you know what I'm saying? And whatever. We say, tell each other we love each other and rare. The kids, it's one of them ones, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's my way of developing myself. But at the same time, I'm not ashamed to go to my children, even though I don't like them having too much of a voice. Any kids, not just mine. I think it goes too far. But I'm not afraid to go to my children and tell them as a man that I didn't handle something particularly well. That's taking accountability, bro.
That is, main thing, You know what I mean? I like the fact that you admitted that, absolutely.
So,
that's a big thing, man, to admit that as well. My last and final question, man. We live in a digital age, Vebz, a technological age. How do you think, artificial intelligence can be used to enhance accountability and ethical decision making?
Rotted backside, though. Sorry about my French. You talking about AI? I don't use no AI,
Cause I'm not gonna lie, you listen, people. You might not like AI. You might not like the robots. You might not like the drones. Do yourself a big favor, upskill, get to learn these things, because what's happening now the criteria that a lot of these companies are coming with is they want to know that people have some knowledge and understanding of AI, because a lot of this stuff is going to be in these workplaces. If you do not have any knowledge or don't even know how to use these basic things, it's going to be a problem for you to secure employment. And I'm telling you things that I've seen. I've gone on courses. Does that mean I've started to learn certain things, you know, because as I said before, with the way that society is evolving as a whole, there's going to be a lot of changes that's coming, and it's not necessarily going to be changes that is going to be for the betterment of humanity. But at the same time, whether we like it or not, these changes are coming. If you notice now with, you know, what, not to go off topic, people, but once again, and, you know, even this, it's a form of accountability, because when these AIs now start to malfunction and then the drones are crashing into each other, the robots are, you know, getting a mind of their own, who is held accountable for this? Who do we blame? Who's going to take accountability when these AIs now start to destroy mankind? Yeah, or, you know, the AI now messes up your coursework or destroys something that you've been working on for a while. Who is going to be held accountable? At the same time, there's pros and cons. Yeah. The AI, the pros are it can simplify your life in terms of maybe getting a lot of stuff done quicker, more faster, and maybe, you know, allowing you to have a lot more time. The cons is now that it will eventually replace humanity, because, you know, with robots, with AI, doesn't need a salary, doesn't need to be fed, doesn't need a holiday, doesn't get sick, and can work 24 hours a day as long as it's charged up.
Must need servicing though.
Yeah, well, you know, these machines are always breaking down anyway. After time when you use these self-service machines, it's like all 5 of them are down, and it's madness.
That's what I'm saying.
But,
we're in tear, innit?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. That one day, I know it's a tough one, Vebz, about, you know, the decision making. And to answer that question as well as a whole for myself is, once again, if you can allow you use these technologies and not allow this technology to use you, there are certain things that you can use to the benefit of humanity that can help. For example, like for someone that's maybe illiterate, has problem reading, you have the likes of Google Talk, you have Alexa, you have Siri,
ChatGPT.
Gemini now, which Google have updated. This is what I mean. You've got all these things, and it can be the good side. The good side of that is very good for someone that doesn't know how to read and write, because all you can say now is, you know, like this, hey Google, what's the time?
It's 10:39 p.m.
You know, so
I've got two Googles talking in his yard, you know.
No, that's when one goes off, the other one goes off. but that's a prime example. So for someone that doesn't know how to read and write, they can, and, you know, they need to get to a destination, AI can help in that term. So I mean, 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have this technology. So for someone that wasn't unable to read, or, you know, didn't really know how to do certain things, this wasn't there. The downside, the positive thing is that they can speak and these things respond back. You see what I mean? So as I said before, there's pros and cons, but if you were to use this, you know, use these tools to enhance accountability and ethical decision making, is very good to a certain extent, as long as we don't allow it to now become our thinking mechanism, meaning that we just allow it to think for us. When we allow it to think for us, we are now no longer in control. The machine now becomes our brain.
Well, this is the problem that I have with it. And I would learn to use it. I've already started trying to use certain little things or whatever, and I will learn to use it, because it's like the whole, remember the email thing when everyone was in uproar about the email? You couldn't apply for a job. The email, remember that?
No, I don't remember.
I swear that was like dead on 2000.
Remember, man.
You don't remember?
Bloody hell, no, seriously.
That was like dead on like 2000 or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember that.
Like before, you used to bring your CV in physically into a workplace, innit? Like to try and get a job. And then they were like, now you have to have an email and apply it online, and people was in uproar, bruv. So it's like the same thing all over again.
Still. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
that's mad.
Yeah, man, it's like the same thing all over again still. So like, people, you have to use these things and get on track and whatever, especially if you're at an age where you consider yourself employable and you want to be in the work industry or, set up your own business. It does make life easier for you. AI does, although it's collating all the information that you're putting in there and making its own, mainframe data or whatever. Do you get me? But at the same time, I just disagree with the whole, like, the chat GBT thing where you want to conjure up a story and you just say to it like, oh, can you make up a story about, I don't know, a little boy that lived with his mum in a single parent home or whatever, and then his mum won the lottery and end up buying a house and moving to America, and it will just write a detailed thing just based off of that. Like, you didn't use your brain to think what's going to happen to mankind, bruv, when they're not using their brain. Remember, we're already not using our brain already, You know what I'm saying? People don't understand that. We've gone from doing little things like, all right, I know I might be going off a bit off topic but I'm going to go into a little bit of a rant. We've gone from doing things like using an A to Z or reading road signs when you're driving around and making your way from A to B. Sometimes from London to another part of the UK, reading road signs. Now we're using the maps thing on Google.
I never used an A to Z in my life.
You got lost, you'd stop and like draw out your A to Z and look at it and be like, oh yeah, I need to go in this direction, south, east, whatever.
I've never used one, cuz.
No, that's you, but you're remember we're young where I didn't use one. I'm saying I know my dad did and stuff, but I'm just saying like, we still navigated our way around using road signs, cuz even when we was walking at our ages when we was growing up, we was using road signs. Now everywhere we go, we're using Google Maps. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
That's one example. Before, now you wanted to spell and stuff like that, you'd go buy a dictionary, bruv. Yeah. It was writing, you'd buy a thesaurus, you'd sit down, look for the word in the book or whatever, look at the description, you understood what it meant, you was able to write your thing. Now we're using Google. Before we'd go and source information, I want to learn something about history or something. You go to the library, ask the librarian, do you have any section about a section on books about, I don't know, Henry VIII? Yeah, it's over there. All right, cool. You go over there and you sit down in the library for an hour going through books till you find a relevant one. Yeah, this will help me with my test on Henry VIII or something. Now we're sitting in our yard talking to Google. Google, can you tell me information about Henry VIII? You know what I mean? And it's telling you everything. Like, it's mad. So we're already not using our brain
that's
ready.
true,
and now you got chat GBT and that running full essays and all that.
5 is coming out late this year, early 2025.
I didn't even know there was 2. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying.
5, yeah.
But I'm just saying that.
To date, man.
I know people use it, but it's the same argument as, when we was growing up, cuz, and we was doing GCSEs.
Yeah.
And we did our GCSEs, physically with pen and paper. And then these kids now do their tests and stuff like that on pads. and
that's mad,
people say that these kids are more intelligent than our kids because they're getting the results. But if you took the pads away from these kids and gave them pen and paper and told them to do the GCSEs that we were doing, I bet you they wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, it's true still.
And they would show that they're not as intelligent. They're just more computer intelligent. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
And look, with all of this technology now, cuz, as well, the next thing, sorry to rant again. When we was growing up, we had a level of common sense. You were able to navigate your way around. You were able to go out and go and form new friendships with absolute complete strangers and all sorts. You were able to tell mainly, not all the time, but most of the time, which friends or which kids that you're hanging around with is not good for you, and which ones are good for you. Who's bad, who's good. You know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
And then you'd have the courage to remove yourself from it because you were socially around people and stuff. Now these kids ain't got none of that, bruv. You watch them and they're going out there making friends. They're making friends for all of the wrong reasons. When their friends are rotten, they don't even realize that the friend's rotten. You're telling them this one's no good for you. Yeah? And they're still going and spending time with that person and doing things for that friend, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah. And that friend just abusing them and they're just taking abuse, bro.
It's true.
Because they don't understand, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
and
true.
they don't know how to stand up and tell the person, I don't really want to be around you no more, you're no good for me or rare. You get what I'm saying to you? Like, and they're swallowing up to peer pressure at a different level now. Like, all because of this techer business, bruv.
Yeah, it's mad.
So I'm saying, it's mad, but there was a question that I was going to ask you, It was in the back of my mind. What was it again? Hold on. Let me try to think of it. Right, that was it. In terms of accountability, cuz, what would you say to anybody out there that is concerned or has any worries about their health, but they're not taking accountability for going and actually doing something about it? What would you say to them to motivate them if they were listening to, take accountability and go get it sorted?
Good question. For one, I'll say to them, if there's someone that they know and trust that they can talk to and confide in, then for one, I'd say definitely seek to speak to that person. For one. Doing your best to be open and transparent, as we mentioned earlier, is very, very important, because transparency encourages accountability by promoting openness, honesty, and trust, which then helps the individuals and themselves and others to be responsible for their actions. I would also say as well is even look at potential courses, because there are some stuff that you can find online, even YouTube, which will allow you to look at ways in how to, how to express yourself and help with accountability. And that, once again, I was saying to you before, in terms of AI, technology can also help people to enhance accountability by providing, objective data, and just help with, just basic decision making as well. Although we don't really want to rely on that completely,
So if somebody was at home, and let's just say, for instance, it's a man and he went to the toilet, or when he went to the toilet, like blood came out in his stream of his wee, and he was like, you know what, this looks a little bit concerning, but I don't know how concerning it is. I'm not going to go to the doctors. I'm a bit scared. I'm not going to go to the doctors. I'll just kick back, keep an eye on it, and see what happens, innit? If you get what I'm saying. If it keeps happening continuously, then I'll go. That's somebody not taking accountability for their health. What would you say to get that man to now say, you know what, I need to go to the doctors and book an appointment like now?
But anyone that's watching this and you're going through something similar, or someone that, happens to be going through that, just say to them that the sooner they go get that checked out, the better, because the problem that we have with people like that is it's too late. The minute you notice that something like that is happening, just tell yourself, imagine if this is life-threatening. Can you really afford to delay in getting something like that checked out? Because we see it time and time again. Had this person have come sooner, we could have maybe caught it at stage 1 or stage 2. Once now this is stage 3, stage 4, it lessens the chances of survival, depending on what it is. So once again, if you're someone out there and it's easy, to battle with these things and to try and, put it off or, avoid getting help and hoping that these things will go away on its own. The sooner you get this thing looked into, the more better the chance of you getting the healing, because what you don't want to do is, put off something like that could potentially life-threatening, thinking that it will go away and not realizing that in the long run, you're doing yourself more damage. You see what I mean? Yeah.
That's a good one, still. That's a good one. I like that. And then let me ask you one more question.
Yeah.
This one might sound a bit far-fetched, but I do think it's needed in this time. What would you say if there was any young person or parent of a young person that could point their kid towards this episode? What would you say to a young person that was at a crossroads, watching the news, fearful, because they see the amount of young people that's dying and is now decided to pick up a zombie knife and walk on the street with it as a form of protection. What would you say to that child to get them to take accountability and refrain from taking such a course of action?
One, what I would say to such a person or persons is, one, you don't want to throw away your life, because you'd be looking at a prison sentence. Not only that, you could potentially kill someone. That's your life finished already. And if you feel that you're scared, or you feel that you're potentially at risk of, some sort of attack or being bullied or being approached, then I would definitely recommend some sort of self-defense. Because you can never go wrong with self-defense. You see what I mean? But if you're going to be someone, and I think now they've already passed the law, now if you get caught with that, you're going to be in serious trouble. So think very carefully before you end up walking around with a knife. Think about the consequences. Would you be able to survive in prison? And that's number one. Number two, what are your goals and aspirations for the future? What do you want to do as you get older? What is your career path? Because if you get caught with that, that's a criminal record, and that will now potentially lessen the chance of you getting a good job. Number three, the worst case scenario is you walk with that and someone disarms you and uses that on you. That's another thing I was watching something the other day. Someone went out on a ride looking for ops, and the very thing that this person went to go and use on the op ended up being used on them. Yeah. So there's that. So these are the factors. You don't want to find yourself in prison. Yeah. For one, because as much as a lot of people in prison, they don't really tell you the truth of what happens in these prisons. Yeah. And a lot of people end up topping themselves because they can't cope. So you need to think about that very carefully when you have a thought that's crossed your mind on carrying an offensive weapon out there. Yeah, that's what I was going to say on that.
Good answer, cuz. Good answer. I like that. Yeah, I mean, so anything else you want to add?
No, man. I think we covered everything, man.
Yeah. What mark are we on now? What time marking are we on now?
11 o'clock coming up to.
Okay. All right, then.
Have you got anything you want to add?
No. Have you got anything you want to subtract?
Yeah. No. What I would say, people, this subject is it's very important, and there's going to be some of you that are going to be able to relate to this. There's going to be some of you that are going to hear the title, and you're going to challenge yourself and think, actually, am I someone that takes accountability? Could accountability be something that I can work on within my own life? It's something that can be used in every area of our life. We can use it in our homes, our children, our workplace, when we're out in society, even when we're using the internet and we're doing certain things. Just so many things that we can use accountable, because we are accountable for everything that we do. And especially when we become of the age of accountability, because, you have some people, they don't know right from wrong. They're talking like babies, but when you get busted, what they say the age of accountability is, Vebz, is it 7?
Yeah.
Is it 7 or 6?
I think it's 7,
Yeah.
Don't be wrong, we'll have to look that up.
Yeah. So yeah, people, it's something that I would say you take very seriously, because it's not something that should be ignored. It's a very, very deep subject, and one that only you alone can really be open and honest with yourself, if you are that type of person that is accountable for your own actions. And whether
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And at the end of the day as well, people, I just want to add that, you know what? We're adults, and you might have the luxury, or maybe luxury is the wrong word. You might be blessed enough to be a parent. Yeah. And if you are a parent, you have to teach your children how to take accountability. In order for you to teach your children how to take accountability effectively, you can't just use lip service. In other words, you can't just talk and tell them to take accountability while they're watching you take no accountability. You know what I'm saying? And accountability doesn't have to be, that you're talking to their mum about something that went wrong between you, or, you're talking to the police out on the street because they approached you the wrong way, or you're talking to a manager about something, like, you also got to try and take accountability with them. That's the most effective 100%. Way to show them. Do you know what I'm saying? You have to hold up your hand and let them know, look, sweetheart, son, I'm going to put myself in a vulnerable situation right now, because I love you, I'm going to show you that I'm willing to do this. But this is what you lot have to do when you lot get things wrong, because it's okay to be wrong. But I'm going to hold up my hand and I'm going to let you lot know that I shouldn't have said that to you, or I shouldn't have done this. And I'm going to actively try to do better. You get what I'm saying? Because I keep on repeating the same behavior, we're going to keep having the same problems. It's going to keep having the same impact, which is all negative. You know what I'm saying?
100%, yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is part of my development, why I'm doing this, because I want to become a better person, and I can't become a better person unless I do this and unless I show you. Do you get me? Yeah. So I expect that when you lot grow up, or even from now, you lot start exercising, making yourself vulnerable in front of people and showing that you can take accountability. Because you know what, at the end of the day, it might seem like you're making yourself vulnerable, but being wrong isn't that bad. It's not as vulnerable as you think. It's about being a bigger person. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So you have to, parents, adults, show these things, these side of things to your kids, and then they will get it. But if you're just telling them, it's not going to have the same impact. Do you get me?
Yeah.
We want our kids to be able to go out there and navigate their way through the world by taking accountability and improving and developing in every corner or aspect of their lives until they become somewhat, able enough to navigate the world properly, safely, successfully by themselves.
Yeah.
It's the whole purpose. Then you've done your job as a parent. 100%. You know what I'm saying? So even as adults, we got to take accountability. Do you know what I mean? Because it's part of our development too. Remember, you're never too old to learn,
Yeah, 100%.
You're never too old to better yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? So, people, man, you know what I mean? I hope you take on board this message, you know what I mean? And what we're saying. And listen, I'm just going to say, make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe. We've had a few subscribers this week. But we need more, man. We're trying to get the Triggered Thoughts podcast to get up there, man. We really are trying. People. Yeah, we want these messages to be able to, get to people, reach a larger demographic. We're grateful for the followers that we do have, because they're the best. I can't, express that enough. The ones that we do have, they're the best. They reach out to us via voice notes, DMs, WhatsApps. All sorts. I can't complain. They're the best, man. I'm happy. Do you get me with them? And they're happy with us. They give us a positive message and they keep giving us motivation to keep going. But at the same time, we do want to reach a larger demographic of people as well, because the content that we do is about provoking thought, triggering thoughts. That's why we're called Triggered Thoughts. But provoking thought and helping people to, develop, improve, look at things from a different perspective. And maybe a little bit more positive. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what we're trying to do. Do you know what I'm saying? So we want to be able to reach more people and get those type of messages out, because we're not a podcast that sits on there cussing woman and cussing man. And if we do that, it's because there's a purpose. It means you're not moving right. But we don't just do that genuinely, because there's a lot of that going on, and all that's doing is dividing man and woman from each other, and that's what the devil wants, blood. We're not trying to play that part.
100%, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, people, man, help us reach out there, man. Subscribe, Triggered Thoughts Podcast. We're on YouTube. Follow us, Instagram. Just type in the names, you'll see us pop up, man. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, we'll have more good content for you soon. So, as it stands, people, I'm going to say goodbye for myself, Vebz.
Goodbye for myself, the official genius man.
And we'll see you next time on the next episode of the Triggered Thoughts Podcast.
Nice one, cuz.
Yeah, man, big up,